right. Hi, Mijin. A very good
Hi,
morning
sir.
to you.
Good morning, you too. I think good afternoon there. Yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon here and good morning to you. And I think that sets a very good context for anyone who's now listening to our podcast, FinAccTing. So you are our sixth guest on the podcast, and like we discussed, the idea is to make sure that all the stories that we discuss here inspire students to become ACCAs, pursue ACCA, or if they have any challenges around ACCA, they look at these videos and they know the answers, right? So for people who are watching this episode, first of all, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with Mijin on this episode number 6. Now, Mijin has been one of my oldest students even before starting FPA. He was my student at one of the other institutes, and when I started FPA, ACCA vertical at FPA, Mijin, put a lot of faith in me and joined us at the institute. So I'm extremely, extremely happy that he's joined us today. We will be discussing a lot of very, very important things that you as students, you as working professionals would like to know what happens when you are doing ACCA. So there's a lot of lessons coming up. So I would urge you to stick around. And if this is the first time that you are joining us, can I urge you to please hit the like button and the subscribe and the bell icon. I promise you, any videos that we do will always and always help you in your ACCA journey as well as your finance and accounting journey. Right. So, Mijin, by the way, this is a very special podcast for all the reasons that I just said. And also, this starts my journey of doing podcast on Zoom as well. I have been doing all my podcasts out of my office. To be honest, I don't have a very fancy studio, right? So I've been doing it out, at my office, right? So this is the first Zoom podcast that we are doing. So I'm extremely excited how this goes. But really, really, a big thanks for joining in. I know it is very early in Ireland.
I know. I think like even during our classes also, I think I was one of your first students who did classes online with you while we were doing offline classes. So yeah, we have set many different milestones previously. Yes.
Exactly. No, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to discussing a lot of these things today. So, first and foremost, like always, this is my standard question, right? How did you come to know about ACCA and why ACCA?
So my story was a bit different than usual story. So like I started chartered accountancy while I was doing my degree. But like any other, I was not able to complete it because once my degree got a job, I moved on to the job. Then, once we start a job, it's always difficult to do a course like chartered accountancy, even CA or ACCA, it's difficult. So I moved on from jobs. Like I started doing work as an internal auditor, so with Asian Paints. So I had 2 years experience there. I married, so my wife was a nurse. So she got a job in Ireland. So I had to move to Ireland as a necessity, like as a family relocation. So I wanted to move to a new place, but my issue was like I didn't have a professional qualification. So that when I come to a new place, I wanted to be sure that I have a chance of getting a job. So when I searched for a qualification which had a worldwide recognition. That was my first requirement. And based on my experience in internal auditing, I wanted something in auditing. So when I checked there, you know, very few people told me about ACCA at that time because not none of them were not aware about ACCA. But when I searched, I came to contact with some at that time. I think education was one of the major institution available at that time. So I went there. I went to different counselors, and even through googling networks and all, so I was able to find out the details, and I finally ended up with ACCA. So I searched for some references. There were many people outside who said good things about ACCA. Sad to say, at that time there were none in India. Like there were none, as in nobody referred ACCA to me within India. So working people, I'm saying, not about institutions and all other working people who was already in the field. I felt it was, to be frank, I felt it was a risk because I was not sure about how I will be able to complete it. I didn't know much about the course. I didn't know much about how difficult was the exams, how valid, how surety was there for me to get a job. But once I went through the details and I had a kind of a counseling about these courses and all, then I was sure that this is the one I should go behind. So there started my journey with ACCA.
Awesome. Awesome. No, that's very, very interesting to know that you were already married when you were
Yes.
doing ACCA. Now, I feel that that adds so much more. I don't know if it's pressure or if it is just too much work around it, because you have to manage your family, you have to manage studies, plus you were working. So hats off to you, buddy. I think not many people are able to pull that off. So good job on that one.
To to add more pressure to that, I had two kids also at that.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. I really hope that anyone listening to this is already getting inspired that, there are so many things going on. And despite that, you were able to, start ACCA and then complete ACCA as well. Right. So I think that brings to my next question. How was your student journey?
To be frank, like as you said, I was about 32 years old when I started ACCA. So it was kind of restarting my student journey. And it was exciting. It was definitely exciting because I was not used to sitting down and learning things for so long. And it was great to have that experience. But my issue was I had few of the problems. Like when I started my studies in India, but in between I completed two subjects in skill level when I was in India. Then I had to move to Ireland. So that was a very big cultural change for my family. My wife was working almost full time, and I had two kids with me. They haven't started going to school, and one of them was around 1.5 years old. So he needed full-time attention, and I was not working when I came to Ireland. So I was looking after the kids full-time when she was working, and I had to do my studies. And there is a time difference also. As you know, I was attending classes at FPA when you were doing at 9 o'clock in the morning, which was half 4 in
Exactly.
the morning here. Yeah, so I had that few of that issues, but still I was able to pull off. I'm happy that I was able to pull off. That journey was great. For me, I always feel excited and happy when I think about those days, frankly.
Awesome. No, I still remember you were our. I would like to believe you were probably our one of the first international students, who was logging in from from Ireland, which was so many hours away. And I really feel that that gives us also the confidence that we are able to cater to the students outside India. Of course, things are very different now. We've got a lot
Yeah,
of students from outside India, right?
yeah,
So it now feels just another student from anywhere in India.
right.
But thanks to you for putting that faith in us that we can cater to you even when you are 5 hours away from us. But tell me something. As far as your exams were concerned, which were your toughest exams that you felt? Because see, I am trying to think that you were doing CA also, you had work experience, and unlike most of the students, you also had a bit of maturity to understand the concept slightly more quicker because you've seen the real world, right? But still, what were those difficult papers? How did you manage those?
For me, actually, there was two kind of scenarios. Like for me, difficult papers were more in professional levels, like P level papers. But the papers which took my for more time was skill level papers because it was not because it was difficult, but because of my issues like for my because I when I moved from India to Ireland, all those issues. So I had some time gap in between. So I had less time to study those cases. So there I lost, I would say, some 1 year time in between for those skill level papers. But if you ask me which is the toughest papers I faced, it is basically on professional level papers. I would say Auditing would be the toughest one which I met. I have studied in this level, but as you know, it's difficult, it's tough, but it's very exciting. For me, I had experience in internal auditing, so I felt it very exciting. So I would say toughest would be AAA, but that would be the subject I loved the most.
Okay.
Is the answer I would like to give. Yeah,
Awesome.
you
Awesome.
know, that's all the subjects in that's what most about ACCA. So the subjects are more interactive, like it's more depending on real life situations. If we had some experience, work experience before doing these studies, now we would definitely have a um, more clarity about what's happening in those things, what they are trying to say to us. So that clarity will definitely be there. So I love those in for ACCA. Like they are more real life oriented. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. And obviously, look, I love the audit subject myself. In fact, in my P level, even I took the AAA. So I've obviously always enjoyed audits, but a lot of students find it super difficult to crack the exams and not or they just they completely lose their way when they are trying to prepare for these exams. So what will be your key tip, especially around the audit, because that was your toughest as well as your favorite?
So you are asking in preparation or writing the exam?
Preparation really, because I think students, especially the working professionals who are pursuing ACCA, they may be able to learn a thing or two of how to manage
Mhm.
studies.
Great. Yeah. If you ask about reply, what I felt more was like you need to understand, like you have to go through your subject study books also, but we need to have a broader vision, more reading. So if you have like most of the examples which are mentioned in our studies, so those life examples. So if we have a broader reading and like if we have a like if we read more and see what's happening really in the real world, we will have a more clarity of what they are trying to, as I said, what they are trying to ask us and what they are expecting from us when we are writing an examination. They are really expecting us to use our logic, I would say, to in a situation to see what's wrong. So if we have a clarity on that level,
Got it.
I won't think it won't be difficult. So it's for me, if you ask me, it's more about reading, have a wider reading or like have a wider knowledge or wider understanding of what's happening around you. You should be always very clear about your environment, I would say.
Awesome. Awesome. No, I think you're absolutely, hit the nail on the head. If for especially the P level papers, even I as a faculty think that you cannot just limit yourself just to the textbook and, limiting your knowledge to that. If you are doing audit, understand, what these key concepts are. Maybe read
Yeah,
newspapers, see what's happening around the world, especially around corporate governance, because these are the
yeah,
kind of things that help you write really good answers and also let you make those extra professional marks that are available,
yeah.
right?
Yes, right.
So I think that is very very good tip. So thank you for that one, Mijin. Now moving on, because obviously starting studies in India, then moving to Ireland, finishing your studies all online. But tell me something, because this is also a question that comes to students' mind, that whether you can really pursue ACCA online. Is it possible to do that? What will be your thing? What do you think? It is possible, and what is it that you need to do to make sure that it works?
As a person who did his entire studies online, I would say online is possible. Like offline definitely has some advantages, but online gives us more flexibility. So like in online there is possibilities of recording the classes, so we can read the class whenever we need. And online doesn't like it's for me it doesn't offer much of a difference than offline. So the teachers are there available, the classes are happening. If we have any queries we can ask immediately, they are reply to us immediately. There isn't much difference between offline and online. So that physical presence is always there, that's always an added advantage, but otherwise I don't see any issues with online.
Awesome.
Because
Awesome.
many now many people, for me and the cost is also an advantage, I would say. So if I have to pursue here, it's very expensive, to be frank. So
Yeah.
that advantage also was there for me when I attended online. So definitely a plus for me.
No, no, I thought absolutely. Look, I'm a big fan of technology, and if you are able to use platforms like Zoom to connect someone who is, I don't know how many, 4,000 miles away, right? So, if you're able
Roughly,
to,
yes.
right? So 4,000 miles away, and we are able to, talk seamlessly, communicate seamlessly. I don't see why you cannot use the technology. And of course, the icing on the top is that it is far cheaper. So obviously, why
Yeah.
right? No, no. So I'm absolutely with you on this one, Mijin. So look, I think as a student, you've done everything. You've managed to complete ACCA. Of course, it took you 4 years, and you already spoke about what were the challenges. Because I think, Mijin, maybe I want you to talk about that as well, because a lot of students feel that I have all the challenges. I don't have the financial capability. I am not in the right city. I am an average student. That is like probably the biggest problem, that I'm an average student. I can't do ACCA. How did you overcome those challenges despite the fact that 4 years against everyone selling ACCA saying that it takes 1 year and 2 year. I feel that 4 years is a decent time, right? But for people who don't understand that, maybe for something around that. So in terms of you overcoming these challenges, what was going on in your mind that it is taking me this long, but I have to get this done? Were you telling something yourself? Was there anything in front of you that was driving force for you?
Yeah, for me, yes, I would say. Because for my thing, the major advantage I had was like I was very clear about my issues and the problems which I am going to face. I was going to face, I will be facing when I start the studies, because I knew I had family to take care of. I had small kids, so I was aware about that issue. I was aware about the time gaps, so I was aware about the subjects like I haven't studied for a long time, so I knew that issue also will be there for me to get used to a studying timetable kind of thing. So for me, if you ask me what I did in that case, I did was like as I said, I noted down my problems. I said, I know these are there, but I, I, I was sure that I will complete my study. So what may come, I might what I always felt is like that ACCA is not an impossible course. So it's sometimes we will feel like many students fail. They fail once, they feel like, oh, this is over, we can't do anything now. So I'm not like, they feel like I'm not worth for this course, or they may feel like I'm very average, so I'm not but smart enough to complete this course. So for me, if you ask me, we have to be ready. Yeah, we have to be ready to face any such situation. We have to tell that I am okay. I am smart enough to complete this. If I'm in the 40s of the exam, like if I failed, but my mark was in 40s or 45, you should. I used to think that yes, I'm on the right path. Next time I'll get the marks, sufficient marks for my passing. So that was my mantra with me whenever I was there. So I felt like I can do this. I need to do this. That was my thing. So I need a qualification. I need to finish this. And I kept telling me that I am smart enough to do this. So I have done many things previously when I was studying. So I should be able to do this. This was a fail. So, but that doesn't concern me. I'll get a pass next time. So I kept telling me that, and finally, it happened by God's grace. Yeah.
No, so I think what I take from this is that you need to be clear about your objectives, that why are you
Yes.
doing this? Because unless and until you don't know what is at the end of it, that motivation that you need is never going to come, right? So,
Right.
get your objective clear. Why are you doing this? And then, of course, keep telling yourself, keep reminding yourself that, look, I can do this, I can do this, I can, get this done. Because for one, absolutely, absolutely agree that failures are part of this, right? I, in fact, have been very vocal, and you would have seen me on writing on LinkedIn that it is okay to fail. Don't be shy of failing, because uh, and this is my personal learning as well, that from failures you learn so much more. There is so much change in your attitude. You become a lot more humble. You become a lot more uh, you know I don't know, maybe aggressive, maybe not aggressive, but you are so much more clear about what you want to do, because these failures will push you down. And if that objective that you have in mind is really important for you, you will come back far more stronger, right? And I
Right,
think that is
right.
exactly what you did, because obviously, what you are right now doing is every student's dream, that, finish your ACCA and then travel abroad. Of course, I'm a nationalist, right? And
Yeah.
I for one will always tell every student that you don't have to go anywhere. Everything is in India. But I understand that uh, there are so many benefits of moving outside India as well after ACCA. And I think the next few minutes I just want to discuss that with you. So first of all, you said that you moved to Ireland because your wife was already working there. So I think for you, moving to Ireland, after ACCA was probably not that difficult.
Yeah, for me, no, not that difficult. No.
However, now because you're there, and
Yeah.
because I have lived in the UK and I've lived in Australia, so once
Mhm.
you're there, you know so many more things that you wished you knew when you were in India, right? So, what would you say
Right.
if there is any student who wants to travel to let's say Ireland after ACCA? What are the ways that they can move to Ireland or any such country for that matter?
For me, if you ask me, the most easiest way to to gain a 1 year or 2 year experience in India. If possible, it would be better to have it in Big Fours, because Big Fours have plenty of options and they have plenty of clients. So we get a very, very nice and very good experience handling different kind of clients and all. And I would say 1 or 2 years is enough. Experience is enough. And there are many people coming from India to Ireland. So how they are using is that similar pathway. They might be working in a big four in India, and they have their um, references in India, and they try to apply through that way. So it's much more easier to come to a big four here, because they always provide work permits from here. So they provide all the relocation facilities and work permits here to an employee who had worked previously in a similar big four in India. So I would say getting and work experience would be the best option, like 1 or 2 years experience. Then if we try to get different jobs in even Ireland, so I would feel like Ireland is one of the nations where now that requirement is booming. So they are asking for many different professionals, many different commerce professionals, or I would say ACCAs, CAs are coming to Ireland right now. They have plenty of options here. So right now would be a right time, if you
Wow.
ask me. But so it's those students who are doing ACCA. There are many students like who have asked me in LinkedIn also, like how can we come, or are there opportunities for us abroad? And I also always tell them also, like, you complete your course, you get some experience. Once you get that, there are plenty of options outside. You will always get there. I feel like currently there are, I would say, if not in my place, because I'm a bit outside city. But if we look at cities like Dublin or Limerick or Galway, so those are the main cities here in Ireland.
Yeah.
Dublin have plenty of Indian professionals who are working with Big Fours or similar companies. So that's one option. So there is another option that was very prevalent till 1 or 2 years before, which is happening right now also. So these are in case of professionals who are completed ACCA. So they come here, they do 1 year course on accounting. They have some MSc in accounting kind of courses. So
Uh-huh.
once they complete that, they have plenty of options. See, ACCA is definitely valid. If we have ACCA, we will definitely get job here. The issue is coming here.
Wow.
That's the issue. So that is one pathway for us. So we can do that course, do that course here for 1 year. Then we try getting job. We will definitely get job.
Super. Super, super. So
That's
what I understand from here is that if anyone wants to travel, let's say right now for let's say to Ireland, this is the best time to move to Ireland because there are plenty of opportunities. And
yes,
one,
yes.
and I've told this multiple time on my videos as well, how to move abroad. This is one of the easiest ways to go is that you work for an MNC like a Big 4
Yeah.
and take an internal movement. Yes, of course, even that is not like everyone can't do it, but yes, if you are doing your job right, if you have the right degree, because I think that makes a big difference, is that you're in India but you have an ACCA which is a very big hit in Ireland. Of course you will get an opportunity to get that secondment or whatever that internal movement is.
Right,
And the
right.
second one is to go through references. And I know someone, a very good friend of my, a very good student of mine, who I know will be moving to Ireland soon, right?
Mm.
And references really work as well. I think the other way also, Mijin, and probably you'll agree, is that if you want to, go there and do not want to really start working or don't have the references, maybe use the student route, go for a master's there. Now, master's, I have seen because at FP as well, we started this
Mhm.
vertical for study abroad. So we know that the master's has also become so much more doable in terms of, it's not crazy 1 crore, 2 crore. It's no longer
Yeah, right.
expensive. You are able to do that. So I feel even a student route, you go there, do your masters, and then do your post-study work visa, whatever, 2 years, 3 years, get the experience, and hopefully by then you should have a work permit in your hand. So I guess anyone watching this, you have a foolproof plan of how to travel abroad, how to move abroad if you're doing ACCA. Of course, I'm a nationalist, but I'm sure a lot of you will be tempted to move. And again, I don't want to take that away. The best of experiences that I have come from working in the UK, come from working in Melbourne, come from working in Bahrain. So obviously, anyone at least should go for a few years, get that experience,
Right.
so that you know what is outside India, right? So no, so that is great. So we now know that if anyone wants to move outside India, that's the way. But tell me something. Not only just you move outside India, you got a job at a Big 4. Now, how did you do that?
One of the main thing was luck, I would say. But yeah, so if you ask me, what Big Fours are mainly looking for in their employees is their knowledge is one thing, but knowledge always can be like improved by giving training or giving more inputs and so on. So what they also look for is like how a person you are, like what kind of person you are. Are you a team player? How you work in different kind of situations? How do you like use your experience in different kind of situations? So majorly their interviews are situation based. So they will give you different scenarios. So they will ask us how give me an they will ask us to give an example of how we behaved in such kind of a scenario, or in such kind of scenario how did we manage to overcome a problem. So they are trying to see what kind of person we are. Are we a team player? Are we a problem solver? Or are we someone who succumb to pressure when there isn't enough pressure on top of us? How logical we are. So that's what they need. They want to understand whether we are fit to the total organization. So even knowledge they can improve. They can provide training. There will be plenty of training once we join. And um, um, they themselves, like even in case for me, in case of Deloitte, they provide plenty of training. They have a regular schedule of training itself. So it's like we have to do it. So they will make sure that our knowledge is improving, or we are learning and we are updated with all the new things. But what they're trying to look, as I said, is whether we are fit for the organization. So we should be able to use our experience. It's not like it's work experience. So it's some experience which we had in our college or which we had in our life. If we are able to explain to them that there was a problem there, say most they will be looking into problem solving, team management, team how team player we are, or that will be the kind of questions they will be thinking about. So if we are able to explain to them that we are able to act in a pressure situation, we are able to solve a problem by giving different kinds of examples, like in our real life examples, or some issues or some programs we managed in our college, or some work we did previously, or some rank job, or even if our previous jobs experience from that, they are willing to hear from us. So they will listen to what we say, and if they feel like they are fit for organization, then there is no issue in that.
Perfect.
So
Perfect. That's
so I had that kind of an interview. So for me, qualification is one thing that gives us the interviews. So that's the thing which gives us the interviews. So then after that is the next thing. How we perform in the interview is a different thing.
awesome. Awesome. And I think, again, I will absolutely echo that, because having been in the industry for long enough, I know that, yes, the qualification gets your foot in the door. You will be able
Yeah,
to go to that interview. People will respect you for the qualification. They know that
definitely,
you have
definitely. Yes.
gone through the drill. So they don't have to be really worried about whether this person has a knowledge or not, whether this person
Yeah.
is hardworking or not. For anyone who's
I
done
know that
MBA,
we have
people
the
know.
knowledge. Yeah.
People know that this guy has done a lot of hard work,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
possibly they are also a chartered accountant and an ACC or ICAW, right? So
Yeah.
obviously it is something that students need to understand, that there are a lot of softer things as well. The attitude, how do you
Mhm.
speak, how do you communicate, the body language, using a lot of please, thank you, sorry.
Right.
Unfortunately, what I see here in India, there is this massive gap. I get so many requests on YouTube sometimes, and it is straight away, tell me this. What do you do with this? Right? And I'm like, I don't know you, but people will just demand that you do this for me. But we need to understand that if you are going to work, and again, this is just not in India now, even in our corporate culture, this has now become the norm. Irrespective whether you are at a CEO level, you are at a very junior level, you have to treat each other very, very nicely, very, very, you have to be very humble when you talk to people. So I guess those are the important things that I capture from here. The problem solving skills, the team player, right? Those are the kind of things that you really have to make sure you know. All right, great. So that is very, very helpful. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that anyone who wants to get into Big 4, I assure you, because you're at Deloitte, I've worked at EY, I know a lot of people in other Big 4s, and I know this is the common theme that they question you around, right? So, look, I think we are almost there. And like I promised, I don't want to do a very, very long podcast, but just a couple of questions before we wrap up. One, what was your overall feedback about FPA? What is it that you really liked about FPA?
There were many things I liked about FPA, but the main thing was like how approachable you are. Like as I said, for me the main issue was time.
Yeah.
So when usually by the time I get some doubts, it would be like out of office hours at India. So or like it will be very early there or very late there. So but I never had any issue connecting to people, specifically to you, because you were the major point of contact to me there. So I felt it more easier to contact you and clarify a doubt than Googling. So that was a scenario.
Wow.
So whenever I messaged, you were there to answer. I used to get answers for everything of my queries. Even as you know, I had consulted with you for things outside of studies also, like my other four queries also. So like that responsiveness and approachability would be the main thing which I appreciated in FBA. Definitely, yes.
Awesome.
And also the studies that's always there. The teaching part is always there, but this was the main thing that attracted me.
Great, great. You are the fifth one now. Obviously, because there was Rahul, who's faculty, and Dhaval, when I spoke to, he obviously was also my student back in the day, right? Almost everyone's talked about the support we give, and I am always so happy to hear that, is because we take pride. We take pride in saying that yes, we are available any time of the day, helping our students. So I'm glad that you've also said the same thing. So thank you so much, Mijin. So, before we wrap up our this podcast, any key message to all the students who are pursuing ACCA right now? What will you tell them?
From my experience, I would like to tell two things to the students. So first thing, as I said earlier, ACCA is not an impossible course. If you put in sufficient time and mind and energy into that, you will definitely clear it. So there are people who clear it in the first time. So that's great, that's brilliant. But it's not that if you are clearing it in the second time or the third time, it's something wrong. It's also great and brilliant. So I'm an example for that. What I felt always is that I always take pride in that. It's not that maybe I haven't cleared it first time every time, but I was able to clear it, and that itself is an achievement. So don't get disheartened by few failures or something. So if you fail this time, you will definitely get the next time. That's how we are, like, that's how mind works, if you ask me. If failure is like, if we even if we fail, we have learned something from that, so that we can use it the next time when we do the next exam. So don't get disheartened by one or two failures. You will definitely get there. That's one thing. And the second thing I always used to wanted to say is like, age is never a factor for studies. So for I am also an example for that also. Like, I wanted what people always advised me when I was doing my CA and I moved to job. My parents also used to say that if you are doing studies, do it now, because after some age you won't be able to study and you won't be able to complete your professional qualification or some qualification if you want. That is very valid. That's definitely correct. I would say that's definitely correct. There is some time for studying, but it's not that if after some age you can't do anything at all. So if say you are in your 30s and you wanted to do some studies, you definitely do that. ACCA is wired for that also. If you wanted to get a professional qualification, do that. Definitely, it's an option for everyone. So if you are a working person who wanted to improve, who wanted to get a new qualification, definitely go for it. Don't wait for things to get too late. It's always there for you. Go for it and take it. That would be my advice to all the students.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Mijin. These are very, very good and important messages that it is doable and age is never ever a factor. You can always start your ACCA journey and complete it. But again, you need to be driven from within. No professor can motivate you enough like you yourself, right? So you need to make sure that you're always driven, have your objectives clear. So, look, Mijin, I am so happy that we did this, and thank you so much once again for doing this so early in the morning, especially on a Sunday. But like I told you at the start, I know for a fact a lot of students will get inspired with your story. And for people who are watching this still, thank you so much for sticking right till the end. I do hope that you've enjoyed it. Always feel free to reach out to me. In fact, if you would like any further help, you can reach out to Mijin as well. I know he's a great person, so you can reach out to him on LinkedIn if you need any help. And if you've not subscribed already, I would love for you to subscribe and hit the bell icon and leave any feedback if you'd like us to make any improvements. On that note, thank you so much and see you soon. Bye bye.